Hello everyone. Today I'm gonna introduce the large intestine. The large intestine is part of the digestive tract. The digestive tract includes the mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and rectum. The large intestine is approximately 5 feet long, making up 1/5 of the length of the gastrointestinal tract. The large intestine is wider and shorter than the small intestine and has a smooth inner wall. The large intestine is responsible for processing indigestible food material after most nutrients are absorbed in the small intestine. It performs an essential role by absorbing water, vitamins, and electrolytes from waste material. Usually, it takes around 24 to 30 hours, and storage of vessel matter until it can be expelled. Turning movement of the large intestine gradually exposes digestive residue to the absorbing walls, a progressive and more vigorous type of movement known as the gastrolic reflex, which occurs only 2 or 3 times daily, propels the material toward the anus.
Moving on to anatomy and histology. As you can see here, the different parts of the colon are highlighted in different colors: cecum, ascending colon, right colic flexure, transverse colon, left colic flexure, and the descending colon. Now let's talk about the anatomy of the large intestine, also known as the colon. So as you can see here, the colon is divided into 5 different parts, known as the cecum, ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, and the sigmoid colon. Let's start with the cecum that's highlighted in yellow. Cecum is the most proximal part of the large intestine, and it can be found in the right ilia fossa of the abdomen. Ascending colon, highlighted in green, passes superiorly on the right side of the abdominal cavity. The transverse colon, which runs from the right colic flexure, hepatic flexure proximally to the left colic flexure, distally. Descending colon, highlighted in blue, begins at the left colic flexure where the colon bends inferiorly and is anchored to the diaphragm by the phrenicocholic ligament. Lastly, we have the sigmoid colon, which is continuous with the descending colon in the lesser pelvis. And here are some pictures such as the sigmoid colon and the descending colon. Now moving on to the histology part. So as you can see from here, the colon consists of 4 distinctive tissue layers that work together to achieve the organ's function. The first layer comes the mucosa, which is made of smooth mucous membranes with many goblet cells. The second layer is the submucosa, which contains the blood vessels and nerves that support the surrounding tissues. The third layer is the muscularis, which contains bands of smooth muscle tissue arranged in longitudinal and transverse bands to contract the walls. The fourth layer, lastly, is the serosa, which is a layer of simple squamous epithelial tissues which produces a slick serous fluid that lubricates the exterior and protects it from friction with the surrounding tissues of the abdomen.
Now we'll talk about the role of gut microbiota in our body. What is gut microbiota? It refers to the system of microorganisms in an individual's gastrointestinal system that consists of viruses, bacteria, fungi, and other microbes. It has a symbiotic relationship with our body as it supports immune response, digesting, and energy harvesting. They are primarily found in the large intestine where they float around inside or attached to the mucus lining on the inner walls. The role of microbiota in the digestive system is that it helps in breaking down certain carbohydrates and dietary fibers that you are unable to break down on your own. It also helps in metabolizing bile in the intestines, as the enzymes and bacteria break it down, allowing the bile acids to be reabsorbed and recycled by the liver in a process called enterohepatic circulation. In the immune system, the gut microbiota helps to protect against infections by producing T cells, and are transferred to the intestinal lumen where they fight against the target bacteria and stop them from crossing the epithelial barrier. Factors affecting microbiota primarily include diet, as highly processed foods can lead to the lining of the human gut thinning. Other factors include medication, toxins, lifestyle, and age.
Now, let's move on to pathology. The large intestine can be affected by a wide range of health issues that impact its structure, function, and the overall well being. The conditions include inflammatory diseases, non cancerous growth, infections such as cancer, and congenital disorders. In order to understand further into the topic, let's dive into some common diseases. The first one is the ulcerative colitis, which falls under inflammatory bowel disease. It's a chronic inflammatory condition which affects the mucosa and submucosa of the colon, starting at the rectum and extends proximally. It's characterized by continuous lesions with ulcers and pseudopolyps, and the symptoms include bloody diarrhea, abdominal pain, and weight loss. The second one is adenocarcinoma, which falls under colorectal cancer, which is the most common type of cancer in colon and rectum, often arises from adenomatous polyps. It typically presents with symptoms such as changes in bowel habits, rectal bleeding, unexplained weight loss, and the risk factors include age, family history, inflammatory bowel disease, and lifestyle such as diet. Last but not the least, irritable bowel syndrome, which is in short IBS. a functional gastrointestinal disorder characterized by symptoms like abdominal pain, bloating, diarrhea, and constipation. It's not an organic disease. Its pathophysiology may involve motility disturbances, visceral sensitivity, and altered gut flora. A recent article, which is published in 2023 by two authors named Laura El Azouz and Sandeep Sharma, where they talked about the physiology of the large intestine and highlights several disorders related to that large intestinal motility. Among those disorders, there are two which are very important to know. The first one is diverticulosis or diverticulitis. It's a disorder in which pockets develop in the chronic mucosa due to weakness of the muscle layers in the colon wall. This usually occurs over time from chronic attrition of the aging process. Diverticulitis can develop if these pockets get infected or inflamed, causing abdominal pain and change in the bowel movements. This disease is very common, especially in older adults. The next one is ischemic. Ischemic colitis is very common in the elderly and occurs when there is a decreased blood flow in the colon. Decreased blood flow can cause inflammation or injury to the colon. Some causes of ischemic colitis are atherosclerosis of arteries, low blood pressure, blood clots, and bowel obstruction.
Here are some recent studies of the large intestine. The first one is stem cell therapy to treat Hirschsprung disease, also known as HSCR. It is a rare condition where the colon is lacking some nerve cells, and it cannot contract and may lead to constipation and bowel infections. Around 1 in 5,000 babies are born with HSCR. They suffer from lifelong symptoms and more surgical plan needed after surgery. This therapy is to generate nerve cells precursors and produce the missing nerve cells in large intestine. Results in the experiment shows that the transplanted gut tissue showed increase in contraction, but this has not been carried out in human tissue. So, it is helpful for developing a new treatment for HSCR in the future. The second finding is that hormones in the colon could regulate body weight with intestinal bacteria. Enteroendocrine cells, also known as EECs, are found in intestinal linings. However, the function of colonic EECs are still unclear. In the experiment, researchers used targeted genetic techniques to inhibit the growth of colonic EECs in a mice. The mice gradually become obese and have poor blood control. They found out that excess glutamate from stool are produced from intestinal bacteria. As extra glutamate are produced from intestinal bacteria, it is concluded that colonic EECs could regulate the amount of glutamate secreted from the microbes. Other experiments also suggest that glutamate production would send signal to the brain and affect appetite. In future, treatments for obesity or extreme weight loss disorders may be developed by adjusting the amount of intestinal glutamate.
Now we'll talk about healthy practices which you can do to help maintain a healthy colon. Now we are going to talk about 5 key steps into maintaining a healthy colon. First, we can aim to consume 25 to 35 grams of fiber daily. Include foods like berries, nuts, and vegetables, which can help promote regular bowel movement and reduce disease risk. Next, moderation is key with alcohol limit intake to 1 drink per day for women and 2 drinks per day for men. And if you smoke, it's crucial to just quit. Support is available for healthcare professionals to help you stop. Thirdly, you should also try to limit red meat and processed foods, as they can increase your risk of colon cancer due to saturated fats and carcinogens. Fourthly, we should not forget about hydration. Drinking at least 8 glasses of water a day helps flush out toxins and support colon function. Lastly, we should always engage in regular exercise. Physical activity helps boost your digestive system's effectiveness and reduce digestive disturbance.
Here are some useful additional links in order to learn the 3D model of the anatomy of the large intestine and a method to learn the large intestine known as the CT colonography.
The large intestine plays an important role in our body, such as absorbing water and vitamins. Its anatomy specialized layers support its function effectively. As stated, gut microbiota are also a major component in our colon. Recent studies could also bring a huge impact on developing treatment for several diseases. Hence, we all should learn and study more and should take a good care of our colon to get a healthy life.
Well, thank you for listening, and I hope you all learned something new.